Zhu Meiying was an orphan who was picked up and raised by her kind grandfather in the countryside. The two depended on each other for many years, leading a simple but peaceful life. After her grandfather passed away due to chronic illness, she was left alone in the world with no relatives to rely on. To make matters worse, continuous heavy rains lasted for half a month, severely damaging their old rural house. Half of the roof collapsed completely, making the house uninhabitable and leaving Mei Ying homeless and desperate. Before his death, her grandfather told her a vital secret of gratitude and commitment. Decades ago, old Master Gu was trapped in a deadly danger, and Mei Ying's grandfather risked his life to save him. This heroic rescue left him with a permanent physical disability, causing constant pain on rainy days for the rest of his life. To repay this life-saving kindness, the Gu family took the initiative to make a lifelong covenant, arranging a baby engagement between the two families, vowing that the next generation of the Gu family would protect the Zhu family's descendant for a lifetime. With nowhere else to go, Mei Ying followed her grandfather's last wish and traveled alone to the bustling and unfamiliar city Y, seeking shelter from her arranged fiancé of the Gu family. Stepping into a big city for the first time, Mei Ying was timid and lost in the crowded and noisy long-distance station. She dialed the phone number left by her grandfather. After several attempts, the call was finally answered by Gu Muchuan, the actual leader of the Gu family. Overwhelmed with fear, Mei Ying spoke in a tearful voice. Gu flustered to explain her specific location clearly. Her hesitation and vague words exhausted Gu Muchuan's patience, drawing his cold rebuke and making her burst into tears on the phone. Gu Muchuan arranged his personal assistant, Ming, to pick her up through WeChat positioning and clothing features. When they first met, the young and handsome assistant Ming found Mei Ying first. She mistakenly took the gentle and considerate assistant as her predetermined fiancé. Soon after, Gu Muchuan walked over slowly. Dressed in a tailored formal suit, he had a tall and straight figure, cold and noble temperament, sharp facial features and an overwhelming sense of oppression. In the innocent girl's eyes, he looked mature and stern, so she politely and cautiously called him uncle. This casual address greatly displeased the 29-year-old Gu Muchuan, who always prided himself on his poise. His expression darkened instantly, and coldness covered his eyes. On the drive back, the defenseless Mei Ying confessed her thoughts frankly to the man she mistakenly believed to be her fiancé. She stated that she was 21 years old with no romantic experience, and she would abide by the engagement agreed by their elders. She was willing to start with dating or marry directly without any complaint. When the car passed the coastal road, Mei Ying was fascinated by the vast sea for the first time. She begged to get off and ran freely on the beach, chasing the waves like a carefree child. She failed to notice that Gu Muchuan stood quietly not far away, his cold and sharp eyes softening unconsciously as he watched her lively figure. By the seaside, Gu Muchuan cleared up all misunderstandings and told her the truth calmly. Ming was only his long-serving personal assistant, while he was the direct descendant of the Gu family and the real fiancé bound by the baby engagement. There was only a 7-year age gap between them, and he was never an elder. Greatly embarrassed by her silly mistake, Mei Ying was at a loss and flustered. Gu Muchuan asked directly about her attitude towards this arranged marriage based on gratitude. Mei Ying replied honestly that her grandfather had told her the engagement could be cancelled at any time if she was unwilling. This casual remark hurt Gu Muchuan's pride deeply, making him think he was rejected and looked down upon by the young girl. Bearing in mind the life-saving kindness between the two families, and seeing Mei Ying wandering alone with no shelter, Gu Muchuan proposed a contractual marriage. They would register for a legal marriage certificate and become nominal husband and wife. In return, he would provide her with a free high-rise apartment in the city center for permanent residence, with no choice and no one to turn to. Mei Ying agreed without hesitation. After getting married in a hurry, Gu Muchuan sent Mei Ying to the apartment, gave a few brief instructions, and left in a hurry for work. The huge strange house and unfamiliar city magnified her loneliness and fear. Overwhelmed by terror late at night, She made more than a dozen continuous calls to Gumachuan. Unable to ignore her helplessness, Gumachuan changed into casual clothes and rushed to her side, carrying a faint fresh shower scent. Though he spoke coldly and ordered her to stop crying, his heart softened eventually, and he chose to stay and keep her company. Their daily cohabitation began. Pure and naive, Mei Ying had no defense between men and women. With wet hair after bathing, she naturally rested her head on Gumachuan's lap and asked him to dry her hair. Gumachuan was awkward and flustered. Yet he tried his best to be gentle and restrained, hiding his beating heart. In her deep sleep, she accidentally fell off the sofa and kicked Gumachuan hard in a panic, causing a coccyx fracture and limiting his movement. Injured and forced to work from home to recover, Gumachuan was taken good care of by a guilty Mei Ying, who volunteered to do all housework and waited on him daily. Meanwhile, Gumachuan deliberately concealed his identity as a wealthy group president and pretended to be an ordinary company manager with a low salary, heavy car and mortgage loans, and a difficult life. He downplayed his status, hoping to approach her slowly with an ordinary identity. Gradually, Mei Ying learned the whole story of the kindness and sacrifice between the two families. Her grandfather never asked for money or rewards after saving a life, but suffered from chronic pain for decades. The Gu family, filled with guilt, left a promise in writing, vowing to offer all help to the Zhu family's offspring in trouble. The baby engagement was the most sincere repayment of gratitude. Knowing the truth, Mei Ying felt more settled and cherished this hard-won shelter. To achieve financial independence, Mei Ying took a job as a supermarket clerk near the apartment. She worked diligently and planned her life carefully. She held a persistent wish to earn enough money to repair her grandfather's old countryside house, then leave the noisy city and live alone in her hometown. Gumachuan saw through her desire to leave, filled with unease, soreness and growing possessiveness. Living expenses in the city were extremely high, and her meager salary could barely cover basic meals. Soon, Mei Ying ran out of money and could not even afford food. Out of embarrassment and helplessness, she had to borrow living expenses from Gumachuan. To repay his kindness, she took the initiative to do all cleaning, housework, tea serving, and shoulder massages. Ambiguous interactions arose constantly. When she could not reach ingredients on the high cabinet, Gumachuan would hold her waist gently and help her effortlessly. Her cooking skills were poor, with burnt eggs and wrong seasonings. Gumachuan complained constantly and ate every bite silently. Though he only gave her a small amount of pocket money each time and seemed stingy, Gumachuan cared for her in secret. He arranged 3 meals of takeout on time every day, solving her financial crisis as quietly undeasing her hardships. He took the initiative to ask her out for movies, shopping and trips, trying his best to keep her in the city and eliminate her idea of returning to the countryside. However, their date ended unhappily because Gumachuan fell asleep in the cinema from overwork, creating a subtle estrangement between them. At the same time, Gumachuan's noble background was gradually revealed. As the powerful helm of a top enterprise, he was pursued by many wealthy young ladies from aristocratic families. Miss Ling, the most persistent suitor, pestered him endlessly and refused to give up after repeated rejections. To cut off the entanglement completely, Gumachuan decided to make his marriage public. He asked his assistant to prepare a formal dress for Mei Ying and took her to a high-end business dinner as his legal wife. At the banquet, Miss Ling mocked Mei Ying's plain dress and ordinary temperament, mocking her as a hired actress arranged by Gumachuan. Facing public humiliation, Gumachuan protected his wife firmly. He held Mei Ying's hand tightly, announced their legal marriage in public, and stated that they would hold a formal wedding in the future, rejecting all slander and contempt. Enraged and unwilling, Miss Ling drugged Gumachuan's wine in secret. Affected by the drug, he felt burning heat and lost rational control. He rushed into the hotel bathroom and used cold water to suppress his desire and keep his bottom line. In the middle of the chaos, 2 strong thugs were sent to kidnap Gumachuan. Having learned practical self-defense skills from her grandfather since childhood, Mei Ying stayed calm and brave. She defeated the bodyguards with neat movements, protected the unconscious Gu Mutyuan at all costs, and escaped to the top-floor suite. After spending the whole night together, she witnessed Gu Mutyuan's hidden vulnerability and restraint. The ambiguous affection between them surged rapidly, breaking all boundaries. The next morning, Gu Mutyuan's parents suddenly visited the apartment, mistakenly believing that their son had treated Mei Ying coldly and harshly. They were furious, punished Gu Mutyuan severely, and doted on the wronged Mei Ying from the bottom of their hearts. From then on, Gu's parents stayed with her, treating her like their own daughter. They picked her up from work every day, prepared various snacks and delicious food, and accompanied her to relax, giving her the warm family love she had never owned before. In contrast, Gu Mutyuan became the family's target of blame, forced to sleep on the sofa and take charge of trivial housework silently. Late at night, Mei Ying looked at the tired and lonely Gu Mutyuan curled up on the sofa, filled with heartache and tenderness. All misunderstandings, awkwardness and trials faded away. She took the initiative to show weakness and draw close to him. Gu Mutyuan finally let go of all his indifference and restraint. They confessed their true feelings to each other, untied all knots, and faced their marriage frankly. What began as a marriage of gratitude and compromise eventually turned into sincere love. The story is supplemented by Gu Mutyuan's first-person inner monologue. Nearly 30 years old, holding supreme power in the group, he had long been troubled by his family's forced marriage. The strict family rule of the Gu family required marriage for independent residents, which pushed him to accept the baby engagement. What was once a responsibility and repayment of kindness turned into deep love at first sight when he met the pure and lonely Mei Ying. He concealed his wealth and status for fear of being loved only for his money. Cold and indifferent to all worldly temptations and active courtships from noble ladies, he only yielded and spoiled Mei Ying unconditionally. The moment Mei Ying risked her life to protect him, Li confirmed that she was the only one for his whole life. He willingly accepted his parents' punishment just to ensure her peace and happiness. From alienation and temptation to deep affection and lifelong devotion, Gu Mutyuan healed her only passed with gentle love, built a warm harbor for her, and promised to stay with her forever, achieving mutual redemption and a lifetime of companionship.